Hello and welcome to this practice, and this is a Hatha yoga class, and it's part two of a series, or you can do it on its own. It doesn't have to be connected to part one, but it was two cold weeks, and the live classes that I recorded, and the plan for the class was to help a body that needs a little bit more TLC in the cold weather to feel good. And so just looking for pleasure and freedom in the body, and creating pleasure and freedom in the body. And this one is a special joint freeing series. So we actually start off low down on the mat for this one, and we work our way up to standing via sort of seated and all fours. We do use some props. So again, we use the power loop. So if you don't have a power loop, you can tie a resistance band in a loop, or you can find something else that's stretchy. I mean, you could even use sort of a bungee cord or a stretchy pair of tights, or you can always miss out the power loop bit. And we also use a massage ball. So the massage ball is really handy. I mean, this gentle class, it's really aimed at people in midlife and older, but it works for anyone who needs a more gentle practice. And the massage ball, it really helps to ease out the fascia, hydrate the fascia in the foot, so it makes that whole back line of the body, calves and hamstrings and lower back feel a bit more easeful. And it also really helps with proprioception, so you have more proprioceptors in your feet than you even do in your hands. So in terms of balance, rolling out the feet is really, really good for just teaching the body to know where it is in space. So if possible, have something that you can roll your feet on. Could be a dowel, it could be a tennis ball, a cricket ball, a golf ball, anything rolly. And I don't think I have much else to say about that. Oh, you'll need a blanket as well. We start off on the rolled up blanket. This is a live class, so I think at one point I say like this, and I hold up the blanket, which you obviously can't see, but it's in more or less a square, which is about the length of the spine, so that when you roll it up, it supports the most of the spine and also your head when you're lying back on it. Okay, so if you would like to practice with me live, you can. All of these classes that I do weekly, almost all of them, I do them online as well, and I also do the recording. Please do check in if you like this podcast and you'd like to see more of me. I'd love to meet you. I know there are lots and lots of you out there that I've never met, but I'm glad that these classes are getting to you anyway. And the 22nd of December, I'm doing a solstice practice. So that's a special practice that I'm doing. It's just online. It's 2 hours in the evening. And it's called the fabric of meditation. So it's a deep sort of somatization of the inner body. So really getting in, feeling into the real sort of fibers of the body, and making the meditation a meditation sort of with the body, not just on the body. And then we go to yoga nidra. So that's a very, very deep and restful practice. So please get in touch if you have anything to say. It's info@yogabynature.org, and you can find out all about what I'm doing at www, so I forgot my website address for a second there, www.yogabynature.org. And the reason I haven't been posting lately is just I've been completely consumed by teacher training. So I'm running 200-hour teacher training in Western in the UK at the moment. and also a yoga for cancer course. So any budding teachers, serious students of yoga, hospice workers, anyone who has an interest in sharing yoga for cancer, I'm running that one online. And the next one runs in January, so you can join from wherever you are in the world. So that one's the 15th to the 17th of January. So if you have an interest in working with people with cancer, then do let me know, because I have a few spaces on that course still. And you can find out about that on the website too. All right, so I hope this class finds you healthy and well, and I hope you feel even better after doing the practice. All right, take care. Okay, hello, welcome if you're doing the recording. And we're going to start lying on the back. So you need your blankets. And we're going to roll the blanket up. So I start like this, and then I roll it up quite tightly. And roll it so it's about 3 or 4 inches in diameter. You don't want it very thick. So usually less is more with this, so that it can get right in between the shoulder blades when you lie on it. Don't be tempted to go super size, because if it's too big, it doesn't get into those niggly bits just in between the shoulder blades. So if you sit about 5 inches in front of the bolster blanket, and then just support yourself with your hands and your arms as you lie back, so that your blanket runs along the length of your spine. And then you can rest your head down. It should feel quite nice. It should feel sort of nicely nestled in between the shoulder blades, and like it's helping to release those niggly rhomboid muscles in between your shoulder blades and your spine. And just choose whether it feels better for you to have your knees bent or your legs straight. Which is the position that gives you the most stability and ease. Stability usually leads to ease. And just really giving up the weight of the upper body so that your blanket can kind of help to deepen the spine into the body. And this can be a really lovely muscle release for some of the upper back muscles. And it can also be a way of retraining the spine away from that kind of forward curve. That we're all so seduced towards with our phones and our tablets and our driving. So just helping us to sort of rest the head back. I find that in this weather as well, I've found myself walking with my shoulders hunched forward and my head craning forward, as if it's going to get me to where I'm going faster. So having to consciously sort of pull back, draw the shoulders back, and allow the upper spine to be long. And this is one of those poses that does all the work for you once you're in it. So the best thing that we can do to help the pose to work here is just absolutely nothing. And doing nothing is definitely a practice, something that many of us find difficult, trying to make nothing happen. Let the upper body become heavy. Shoulders are soft. The pelvis is heavy, providing a counterweight to the head. Pelvis is about the same weight as your head. And for the spine to rest lightly and loosely in between these two counterpoints of the head and the pelvis, like a string of pearls. Gently moving with your breath. And beginning to move your breath towards anywhere that feels tight. So particularly looking out for areas of resistance around your back. And with your awareness in your back, just notice if your breath is naturally drawn there. Using the breath to massage away any tightness. The sympathetic nervous system response, the fight or flight response, often sort of really grips the back of the body. The back of the body is bracing. So if there's tightness there, we can stretch all we want, but often it will stay unless we actually learn to relax. Just give it some time, some long exhales. Just 3 more breaths here before we move on. And after that 3rd breath, we're going to change the location of the blanket. So if you just roll over to one side and remove the blanket, and then we're going to roll it up, this time quite thickly. And today's practice, it's all about freeing up the joints. So we're going to start with the neck. And your quite thick roll, if you roll it up a bit fatter, that quite thick roll with the blanket that's going to go just underneath the base of the skull. So you find this sort of ridgy bit right at the base of the skull, and just place that onto the top of the blanket roll. And then just take a moment just to let the weight of the head release. Muscles of the neck can soften. And then just turn the head towards the right until you have the weight of the head sort of dropping down into that sort of little ridgy bit just behind your ear. This is called the mastoid process. It's kind of sticky out ridgy bit just behind your ear. And then we're going to circle that round and give it a massage. So just a few circles round on that little sticky out bit just behind your ear. And you can make these sort of egg cup sized circles, and we'll circle around the other way a few times. And then we'll go over to the other side. So turning the head towards the left. And then just letting the weight drop down through that point just behind the left ear, a little ridge, and a few circles around. Just these egg cup size circles, circling one way and then circling the other way. Just very gently moving, getting those neck vertebrae to slide and glide. And then just taking a rest, just letting the head return to its neutral position. Now, if it feels good to have the blanket there, keep it there. If you prefer, then take it away now. But we're going to bring both of the knees into the chest and hug them in and just start to sway the knees from side to side. And as the knees go from side to side, just turning the head so the head turns away from the knees. Knees drop one way, head turns the other way. Don't forget to breathe. Okay, and then coming back to center, placing the hands onto the knees. And then we're going to circle the knees in these swimming circles. So they're going in opposite directions. The knees are dropping wide and then coming back together and drawing back in towards the chest. So it can be an inhale as you let the knees drop away, and then a long exhale to draw the knees in. So letting your movement sort of follow the shape and the texture of your breath. And we'll go around a few times the other way. And now just rest the feet back down onto the ground. And then draw your right knee in, hug your right knee into your chest, either holding the knee, the back of the thigh, or taking a belt across the back of the leg and holding onto that to extend the arms. You can either stay here or extend the left leg to make it a little bit more stronger stretch. If you like, you can bring your forehead towards your knee here, really opening up the back of the spine. Use your abdominal muscles to lift you up. And then roll the spine back down onto the ground. So we're going to keep the right knee hugging into the chest, but release the arms to the sides. And now we'll circle that right knee around. So just letting the head of the femur bone do these lovely sort of juicy circles around in the hip socket. And those circles, if you like, can get bigger and bigger until you might be sort of rolling all the way over onto one side and all the way over onto the other side. So just enjoy the movements. Maybe your body wants to move a lot this morning. Maybe it's happy with some smaller, more refined movements. And then we'll circle around the other way. Okay, and then bringing the right knee into the chest. And then very gently, just lightly release the right foot down. And just take a pause here, just a little pause for a breath or two. Notice what you can feel. What's here? And then we'll bring the left knee in. Hug the knee in towards the chest. If you like, if you want more, you can bring your forehead towards your knee. Really using that, the abdominal strength. So the front of the body is sort of hugging right back towards the back of the body. The back of the spine is opening, getting longer. And then rolling the spine one vertebra at a time back down onto the ground. Release the arms and let's begin to circle the knee. It doesn't matter which way you go first because we'll go both ways. And just finding out what feels good. So staying in conversation with the body about what's the right thing for the body to do today. And then let's do a few circles around the other way.
Okay, and then bringing the left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze, really compressing the hip flexors so that when you release the leg and place it back down onto the ground, let's do that now. Lots of fresh, nutritive blood flows into the hip area, and just taking a pause, just notice what you can feel now. Okay. So this is a fairly new addition to the movements we do in this class. This is one that I just learned quite recently. So we're going to draw the right knee, the right foot up towards the groin, as if you're doing tree pose, but lying on your back. And then that right foot is going to circle around. So let's do just about 5 or 6 circles round with the foot. Yeah, so you're drawing circles on the floor with the right foot. You'll probably feel that your glutes or your hip muscles have started waking up. And then we'll do a few circles around the other way. And anyone who needs to strengthen around the lower back and the sacrum area, this is a really nice, gentle way of doing that. Okay, and then let's extend the right leg. And then when you're ready to, just sliding that left foot up towards the groin area, and then a few circles round, if that feels okay for you. So not going into any pain in this practice. There's no forcing, there's no straining. And then we'll circle around the other way. And then let's take a rest. Okay, so we're going to move into some movements that help to release the shoulder area as well as the hip area. So if we take our arms out wide to the sides and bend the knees so the feet stand on the floor. And this is a practice, I think we've all done this one before. So Indian dancing, one arm turns in and the other arm turns out. So there's internal rotation through one arm, external rotation through the other one. And we turn to look, the head turns towards the down thumb. And then reverse. And so just really getting the shoulder blades moving. And that arm bone rotating deeply in the shoulder sockets. Once you're established in that movement, you could start dropping the knees from side to side. And you don't need to follow any particular sort of pattern here. So it doesn't need to coordinate with what the arms are doing. If it does, then that's fine. Okay, let's bring the knees back to center. And again, just taking a little pause here, notice what you can feel. Great. We're going to come all the way up to seated. So if you roll over onto one side now, press your hands into the ground to help bring you up. And let's take a seat. A comfortable seat, so that might mean cross legs for you. it might mean legs in front, or you might have the knees bent in spider legs. So find something that feels... Kneeling's fine, yeah. Whatever feels comfortable, yeah. And let's have the hands either resting on the thighs or the knees, whatever you can reach without having to crane forwards. And let's do some sitting cat. So just getting the spine moving so that the navel sort of drops back towards the spine. Yeah, and the head drops forward. And then reversing the movement, sliding the sitting bones back, lifting the chest, curling back, and exhaling, rounding the back, curling forward. Inhaling, lifting the chest, curling back. And then exhaling, curling in, the tailbone slides forward. And then inhaling, curling back. Exhaling, curling forward. Let's just do that 2 more times. So moving with your own breath, at your own rhythm. And then coming back to your neutral spine when you're ready. So if you just lean back on your hands now, you should be able to just let your legs release fairly comfortably. And you can choose to stay leaning back on your hands if you prefer. If you want to challenge your core a little bit more, you can sit up without any support. So we can do some ankle movements here. This is a really simple movement. We're just going to press the toes forward. So you're pointing the foot and then drawing the toes back towards the shins, flexing. Exhale to point the toes, and then inhale to draw them back. Okay. And then circling around. So exhaling. And then inhaling, the toes come back towards you. Exhaling, the toes move away from you. And then circling around the other way. And then giving the toes a wiggle. Okay, great. So again, finding a comfortable seat. A bit of meditation, moving meditation there. And let's do a little bit more for the wrists. So we're going to take the arms out in front. We'll start with loose fists and just really gently circling around. And if you imagine you've got a 10-pence piece sitting on the back of your hand and you're trying not to drop it as you circle the hands around. And then we'll circle around the other way. Just a little movement. Less is more. You might be able to feel, the slower you go, the more you'll be able to feel. You might be able to feel the bones of the arms, the radius and the ulna sort of rotating around each other as you move your hands. It's a funny feeling. And then extending the hands out. We're just going to, again, point and flex a few times. Great. And then spread the hands wide, and we'll do a few circles around one way. And then a few circles around the other way. Okay, make claws with the hands. And then a few, this is usually the strongest one, a few circles around one way and a few circles around the other way. So you should be feeling that along the forearm. Great. And then have a little shake. Okay, where are we going now? Oh, yes. So let's take the legs out wide. And have the arms in front, interlace the fingers, and we'll start to circle around. So just lots of circular movements today to really nourish the joints. Cold weather just tends to get stuck in the joints a little bit. So it's a really nice practice just to warm up right to the core of the body. And then a few circles around the other way. Okay. And then coming back to center. All right, lovely. So let's gather the legs back in. We're going to go to all fours. Does anybody have wrist issues that I don't know about?
A bit, but not
A
much.
bit.
Really. You can only do what.
Yeah. So tabletop's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, do go easy, and if anything hurts, just don't do it. So we're going to do some stuff on the wrists now. If you just come to your tabletop pose, all fours, hands and knees, and we're just going to start by just rocking back and forth. So transferring the weight out of the hands and then back into the hands. So moving the weight around all around the bones of the hands. Okay, great. And then coming back to center. And let's do some circles. So you're circling the shoulders around the wrist. Again, just sort of moving the weight bearing around all those little bones of the hands, 26 little bones in each hand. Okay, and then coming back to center, and we're going to turn the hands out to the sides, just as far as they're happy to go. If that feels okay for you, just keep going as if you're kind of dialing the hands around. See how far you can comfortably go. And then if you want more from here, you can start to slide the hips back. So you get a deep, deep stretch along the front of the wrist. Just breathe here. And then we'll come back to center. Okay, and then just turn the hands back round again. This one we'll do one hand at a time because it is a bit intense. So we're going to take one hand and then we're just going to flip it over. So you're on the back of the hand now. So the weight's going down through the back of the wrist. Again, if you want more, you can slide the hips back and that's going to make it more intense. So it's a big stretch now for the back of the wrist. Okay, and then ever so gently release. And let's do the other side. So just flipping the hand over so your fingertips are pointing back towards you and you're on the back of the hand. If you want more, sliding back. Okay, and then back to all fours. So if you find your all fours, and then lift the knee, and we're just going to do some circles around with the knee. So it's a bit of core work, strengthening the hamstrings, the glutes, the lower back muscles. A few circles around the other way. Okay. And then let's change sides. Same thing on the other side. So we'll do about 4 or 5 circles around one way. And then a few circles around the other way. Okay, lovely. And then resting the left knee down. And then sinking the hips back and coming into your version of child's pose, like whatever that might look like today. So you might be sitting on the heels, have the arms extended out in front. Soften the belly. Okay, and then let's come all the way up. And I'm going to step the right foot towards the front of the mat. So if you, circle the right foot forward and have some padding under the knee if you like. You can put your blanket, sort of fold up the blanket and put it there so it just cushions the knees. And have your band handy as well. We're not going to use it just yet, but we'll use it in this sequence. So if you place your left hand to the ground, and then bring your right hand to your thigh, your right hand to your right thigh, and just very lightly press your hand into your thigh so you can twist a little bit more easily towards the right, and then reach the right arm up towards the sky. Take an inhale, and then exhale. We're going to thread through. So we're going to thread that right arm underneath the left and then curl in. And as you inhale, twisting towards the right, opening up wide, and then exhaling to curl in. Inhaling to open up. And we'll do that 2 more times. Okay, lovely. And then placing the hand back down to the ground. Now let's stand on the band. So we'll just place the band underneath the foot and then come and climb up onto the right knee and be holding onto your band in your left hand. So you've got hold of the band with the palm facing up. And come and stand up quite tall. So you're doing Tadasana spine. So your spine is really well supported by your abdominal muscles or your back muscles. And then we're going to draw the band towards the armpits and then release. So drawing in and then release. So as you draw in, the collarbone, the shoulder blade, draw back in space. So you're really recruiting not just the arm muscles, but all of those upper back and shoulder muscles as well. Okay, great. One more. And then let's release. Place the hands either inside or so they're framing the foot, doesn't matter. And if you need to raise the floor at all, you can place your hands onto a bolster. We're going to start to walk the hands back. So you might find as you walk the hands back and draw that leg back towards straight, you might find that your hands come and lift up away from the ground. So just take something to raise the floor, like a block or a couple of blocks. And we're going to go forward and back. So just sliding the hips forward dropping the hips towards the front heel and then sliding back again. And then if you wanted to do a breathing pattern with this one, you could inhale to come forward, lift the heart, and then exhale to draw back and fold in. For all the joints of the lower body in motion here. Okay, so right, we're going to change it up slightly now. We're going to walk that right foot over to the right. And it can bend, it's fine if it bends. And we're going to start to slide the hips back and forward. So we're sort of now working into these long adductor muscles along the inner thigh. Yes. If it's too strong, I think it will be less strong the further back you take the foot. Getting lots of blood flow down the inner thigh, freeing up around that femoral artery that supplies blood to the lower body. Okay, and then let's change sides. So we'll gently draw that right knee back in and then circle the left foot forward, and we'll do all that on the other side. So bring the left foot to the top. Your right hand is going to support you, and then we'll bring the left hand to rest on the left thigh. Very lightly press the hand into the thigh. Turn the belly, the ribs, and the chest towards the left, and then open up so the arm reaches out of the breastbone up towards the sky. And then we'll move with the breath. So on your next exhale, curling under, so your left arm threads underneath your right. Is that right? Yeah. And then let's take a moment to come back to stillness. Let's take a moment to put your band back underneath your foot. And we're going to rise up and stand really tall. So have your hand hooked into your belt, but sort of stand up in your spine. So you're doing a really steady Tadasana. The tailbone is long, all your back muscles are evenly engaged. And then we'll start to draw the band towards the armpits. Bing. Lose it. Okay, lovely. And then let's release that one. Heel toe your left foot over towards the left. The further back you take the foot, the less strong it's going to be. And so we're just going to start to kind of seesaw the hips back and forward. Oh, did we do we didn't, did we? We didn't do the forward and back. That's okay. We'll do it in a sec. Okay, lovely. And then if you just gently bring, you can do it manually if you like. Just hold on to the foot and draw it round to the front if your muscles are feeling a bit inhibited. And then grab your blocks if they're going to be handy. And we're just going to slide the hips back until the leg goes straight. The front part of the foot can lift. And then we'll go back again. So just alternating between sort of flexing the front hip, extending the hip. The hips have got 7 different directions of movement, so it's quite a job getting them to sort of stretch out in all the directions they can go in. What? 40 years ago, what? In 7 different directions. Really? Wow. Okay, there's a challenge. Yeah, my body just wasn't ever made to do that. All right, let's tuck the back toes under, and then we'll step the right foot forward. So if you just bounce off the back foot, step the right foot forward to meet the left, and then fold into your resting forward bends. And the hands could be supporting you, resting on the legs. You might easily be able to have your hands on the floor. Just do whatever. But find a good position for your feet to be in so that your lower body feels supported. The legs sort of reach out of the body in order to find the ground. Provide feedback from the earth back to the body. They're a bit like antenna. So have a sense of the feet communicating with the ground, finding the best place where your pelvis feels stable, lower back feels broad, the legs can feel springy and active. And then pressing the feet down, we're going to uncurl. If you have osteoporosis in your spine, support yourself with your hands as you come up. Otherwise, you can let the arms dangle and slowly just uncurl that way, uncurling the spine. 1 vertebra at a time, rising all the way up to standing. Let's give the shoulders a few rolls. Okay, great. Let me show you a breathing practice that includes a shoulder movement. It's really nice for just building up a bit of circulation through the upper body. So it's a 3-part inhale, and then an exhale to fold. If you're dizzy, then do it without the fold. Okay. Exhale, fold. This is a really nice first thing in the morning one, especially at this time of year. One more. And then we'll rest here in that forward bend. So just coming into your ragdoll, letting the head hang, let the spine sort of hang from the pelvis. Little gentle sway. Sliding the rib cage side to side. And we're going to come all the way up now. So again, uncurling, but establishing that connection to the ground. So from the pelvis, reach down into the feet and take that little bounce back from the earth to support you as you come all the way up. Shoulders and the head come up last. Ah, great. So let's do some half sun salutations. You may want to have a bolster or a chair to rest your hands on as you come down, or a couple of blocks. So you'd have your bolster in front of you or your blocks in front of you, just so that when you come into your forward fold, you can easily rest your hands on something and keep the spine nice and long. Comme ça. Okay. Let's start with the hands at the heart. Have the thumbs lightly resting on the breastbone, and then you can use the base of the thumb to lift the sternum up towards the chin. So just to help to lengthen out the front of the body. And then as you inhale, sweep the arms up towards the sky, reach up high. And then with the exhale, folding in. So bend the knees, bring the chest forward. If you've any lower back issues, support yourself with your hands on your legs. And then we're going to fold all the way into our forward fold. And then with an inhale, lift the chest forward so the breastbone floats forward. And then as we exhale, we'll fold all the way back in. And then with the inhale coming up, again, bend the knees so your back can be really strong. Lift the chest, sweep the arms up towards the sky, and then bring the hands in to the heart. And the breathing pattern, as always, is optional. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up, and then following the exhale as you fold in, so hinging at the hips. And then your next inhale lifts the chest so you can feel your back muscles engage. Exhaling, folding forward, and then with the inhale, lifting the chest, sweeping the arms up towards the sky, reaching up high. The hands draw through the midline to rest at the heart. Let's go again. One last one. Long inhale, a full exhale. Okay, Brill. How are we doing for time? Okay. So we're going to do a little bit in Warrior One. So let's roll out the feet first. So we just get a little bit more out of the posture. So if you grab your massage ball and give it a good roll around. Not too hard. Just giving those resistant bits a little bit of time. Okay, and then let's change sides. A little roll around on the other side. Hey, and then just come back to Tadasana. So just roll the ball away, and let's just do a few sort of heel lifts. that feels okay for you. All right, great. Get the feet working, lift the toes, give them a little wiggle. And then we'll step the right foot to the front of the mat, step the left foot back a little bit. And we'll turn the left toes out and then take a bend in the right knee. So the right knee drops forward, so the knee is just above the ankle. And then we're going to take cactus arms. So the elbows are bent and drawing back. So the elbows are coming back as if they're coming to meet a wall behind you. And then inhaling, reaching the arms up, lift the chest. And then exhaling, drawing back down the shoulders, slide down the back. Inhaling to reach up, shoulder blades slide up, and then shoulder blades slide down. Okay, let's do that one more time. Really get the shoulder blades moving. The whole of the side body lifts. Okay, wonderful. Now reach the arms up towards the sky. Take the left hand and bring it to the back of the left thigh. Now, if it feels okay for you to turn your head, you're going to turn and look back towards the left heel. Real. And then let's release. Reach the arm up, come to full warrior one. And then let's go to side two. So stepping the left foot forward, right foot steps back. Bending the left knee. And then cactus arms again. So hands spread wide. The upper body really broad and powerful. All the upper back muscles working. And then we'll do 3 of these, just getting lots of movement. The shoulder blades sliding up the back and then sliding down again with the exhale. Lovely. And then after number 3, we'll go to our full warrior one. If it feels okay for you, reach the arms up. And then your right hand is going to come back and just touch the back of the right thigh. Now let's try turning, if it feels okay for you, and just looking down towards your right heel. And then release, reach the arms up towards the sky. And then let's release the pose. And we're going to move to our lateral pose now. So if you step the feet wide or face this beacon over here, it's a good landmark. They're going to light it on New Year's Eve, are they? Is there? Just burn it. Do they always do that on New Year's Eve? I did not know that. Well, that's something for us to do on New Year's Eve. We also have really boring New Year's Eve. Okay, so let's take the feet wide. And we're going to go to, we're going to do a little flow again while we're flowing today. So we're going to bend the right knee. We'll hold this for a few breaths. So maybe don't go up to your absolute max. And then take the arms out wide to the sides. Turn the right palm up. Lift the arm and then bring the left hand to the back of the thigh. Now, optionally here, if you want to challenge yourself, you can look down towards your left heel. And then we're going to come back to warrior number 2, turning to look over the right fingertips. So inhaling, curling back. And then exhaling, back to your pose. That right thigh stays tracking over the pinky toe side of the hand. But, sorry. One last one. Lovely. And then let's bring that right leg back to straight. Sometimes it's good to have a distraction from all the work your legs are doing if you get your arms to do something. And then bend the left knee. Strong legs. And we'll go to warrior 2 first. Take an inhale. And then exhaling, curling back, turning the head optionally. And then inhaling back to your warrior 2. So just getting into a flow with your own breath. The thighs tracking towards the pinky toe side of the foot. And then one last one. Okay, and let's bring that left leg back to straight and release. And we'll turn the feet so the feet are parallel. A little bend in the knees. So we're going to goddess pose. Lovely. Bring the hands to the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Lovely. And then try lifting one heel. Lovely. And then the other heel. Well done. And then both. Okay, great. And now maybe try lifting your toes on one foot. And then on the other foot. Lovely. And then release. Let's bring the legs back to straight. Well done. And then maybe just give the thighs a little pummel just to say thank you for all the work they just did. Let's do a balance. So if we take a step back up to the front, let's do angel pose. So if you stand on your, so start standing on the left foot and just take a half step back with the right foot. Please do take the wall or grab yourself a chair if you prefer. And then have the arms sort of reaching out. Start to tip forward and then just see as you transfer all the weight to the left foot, if that right foot wants to float up away from the ground. Now you can either stay here or you can start to move towards warrior three. So you keep tipping forward until eventually the body might come to sort of parallel to the ground. And then let's come all the way back. All right, let's try the other side. So just toes lightly stepping back, leaning forward. So you're taking the weight out of the back foot so it can float away. Lovely, find your one spot to gaze at. And if you want to challenge yourself a bit more, you can keep tipping forwards towards your warrior three. It's a strong pose. Well done. And then let's come all the way down. Great. So make sure you're warm enough. We're going to come all the way down to the mat now. We're moving towards a relaxation, but we'll do a little bit of pelvic floor strength stuff first. So let's come to lie on the back and we'll have the knees bent. You might want to put your socks on. I'm going to put mine on. Okay, so let's lie on the back. Have the fingertips just resting on the hip points, the front of the hips. And then just lightly press the feet into the ground, like you're stamping the feet, both of the feet onto the ground. And then release. And then again, we're going to stamp the feet down and narrow the base of the pelvis. So it's like your two sitting bones trying to talk to each other. They're coming close. And then release. And now do a little cough. So firing up your TA, your transverse abdominis muscle in the lower belly. And now just stamp the feet again and zip up the pelvic floor muscles. So you're sort of drawing in the pelvic floor muscles, narrowing and then lifting up from the tailbone, sort of zipping forward towards the pubic bone, and then holding that steady, lift the right foot away from the ground until it maybe comes up to knee level, and then slowly lowering it back down again. And then we'll go to the other side. And so we've got the hands on the hips so that they'll be able to tell us if the pelvis is moving. They'll be able to pick up any movement in the pelvis. So we want as much as possible for the pelvis to be still. And now if your pelvis is moving, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It's just an indication that there's a little instability there, which there will be for most of us. But we're encouraging stillness as much as we can. So just little marching side to side. And if the marching starts to feel too easy, then you can do both legs. So lift one and then the other, and then lower one and then the other, okay? Your lower back should be near the ground, but not on the ground. All right. And then let's take the soles of the feet together, drop the knees out wide to the sides, allow the belly to relax, the pelvic floor to broaden. And just take a couple of breaths. We'll move from here into our Shavasana. Into Shavasana in your own time. Drawing the knees back together, taking your blanket over you if you like to have a blanket. Maybe you'd like to have your bolster under your knees. If you enjoyed having the rolled up blanket under your spine, you might want to do that again. It's a nice shoulder release. And making as many adjustments as you need to find yourself fully in Shavasana. And taking a long inhale through the nose. And then a full exhale through the mouth, just sighing the breath out. And then let's do that again. Long inhale. And sighing out the breath. And one more time. Notice where you may still be putting in effort, where you don't need to be. Can you let the weight of your head release into the ground? Can you allow your arms and your legs to fall away from the body? Not holding them on. You don't need to hold yourself together in this pose. Can you allow the back of the waistline to soften down towards the earth? Soften the hands, soften the feet. Letting go of all the things you were doing before coming here, all the things you have to do after. Busy, busy. Letting go of all of that. All the stories that drive you through the day. Just noticing them now for what they are, just stories. And very interesting stories. You don't need them right now. Every story gets sort of stuck in the body, has its response in the body. You might notice that as a thought comes in, the body responds by tightening up in some way, bracing. Mentally smooth out your brow. Soften the cheeks. Let go of that face that you meet the world with. You don't have to meet the world right now. Just turning now towards your breath. And now lightly bringing the breath in so it fills the belly, the diaphragm, the rib cage and the chest. And then with the exhale, letting the breath release from the chest and then the ribs, the diaphragm, the abdominal, pelvic area. Really have a sense of the breath sort of illuminating, filling up the inner body with its energy. This big, wide 360 breath. Now beginning to just broaden out your awareness into the space around you now. And keeping that strong connection to that inner space, the silence and space of the inner world. This unchanging equanimity, sending those tendrils of awareness out into the space around you. And when you're ready to, then very gently beginning to move. Fingers and toes, or maybe rolling over onto one side when you're ready. Coming all the way up to seated. Let's close this practice with one Om. and 3 shantis. So we'll take an inhale for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.